Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach of the fiercely ambitious. I want to react to this in real time with you guys. This is an article, or actually a series of related articles that I've been getting pinged with over the last couple of days. Let's go through this together because I think it has widespread relevancy for all of us. The first article we're looking at is up here on The Verge. Automated hiring software is mistakenly rejecting millions of viable job candidates. A new report says automated systems are hurting the U.S. labor market. Another one over at CNET, automated hiring software rejects millions of qualified job candidates by mistake. ATS systems are used by 75% of U.S. employers to help filter job candidates. Harvard researchers reveal how resume bots are killing job opportunities for people who need them most. Job seekers, and this is not a career coach who's talking to you. These are independent researchers. Job seekers hoping to land an interview are living under the tyranny of automatic resume filters that have already deemed them to be unqualified. So I want to go through a little bit of this. I want to share a couple of thoughts, a couple of insights in terms of what this information is presenting, at least as it relates to what I see every day working with job seekers out there in the marketplace. And then finally, I want to give you a couple of suggestions in terms of how do you adjust to this. Because please make no mistake, I don't care whether you are a C-suite level executive, whether you're middle management, whether you're starting out in your career. This and understanding the trends that have to go with this is arguably the most important decision you're going to have to make in terms of the overall practical success of your career. Practical success meaning the number of real flesh and blood, high level, high quality offers you get is going to be directly impacted by what you choose to do with this. So listen up, okay? So let's go through this, all right? So let's see what The Verge has to say, okay? Automated resume scanning software is contributing to a broken hiring system in the U.S., says a new report from Harvard Business School. They are used by employers to filter job applicants, but it's mistakenly rejecting the wrong people. The study's authors identify a number of factors blocking people from employment, but say automated hiring software is one of the biggest. Okay? Technology has made it easier for people to apply to jobs, but also easier for companies to reject them. Some examples, okay? Companies will, or some systems will, automatically reject candidates with gaps longer than 6 months in their history without ever asking the cause of their absence. One little tip in a resume. If you're listing it out, you've got to acknowledge it. It's far better that you acknowledge it and say family sabbatical or ideally something more relevant than that, but acknowledge that time. Why? For exactly this reason. And it's most apparent when you're cold submitting to jobs because cold submissions are where applicant tracking systems come into play. If you're building relationships at the high level independently, you're not usually subject to ATS systems, right? These guys are talking about standard job hiring, right? So, okay, so that's one, right? Big problem. You're a mom. You took time out. You carefully planned with your family every piece of what was necessary so you could be a mom. You could look after your child. And now you're coming back to the marketplace. Uh-oh, sorry. You're no longer relevant, especially if you're in, for example, something like IT, something like marketing, something like analytics, where there's a general perception that if you're not at the absolute top, you're already, every 6 months is like 2 years behind, right? What are you going to do, right? They will also cite in this article examples where a company will try to find higher quality candidates by putting higher faluting keywords, oftentimes that have nothing to do with it. So I just need a bread and butter project manager, let's say. But I don't want to deal with the hoi polloi. So I'm going to put in executive level, high level strategic keywords that I might more really want to find in a CEO. I want to see that here. And then, by the way, when I don't get relevant people, when I get bloviators, ego-driven people, then I'm going to go even further with it. And this is a huge, huge, huge problem, okay? In the early 2010s, the average corporate job posting attracted 120 applicants, says the study, but by the end of the decade, this figure had risen to 250 applicants per job, while these criteria are going up and up and up and up and up and up. And this is a huge business. The global recruitment technology market had grown to $1.75 billion by 2017 and is expected to nearly double to $3.1 billion. What do you need to know from that metric? Not you need to invest in ATS systems. What you need to know is that the problems that job seekers, individuals are facing are going to get astronomically worse in the next few years. Every problem that you are seeing, auto rejections, no reviews. You know that you would be fantastic for the role. You can't even get FaceTime. The numbers of applicants are going to increase. The things are going to stringent. The numbers are going to increase. Stringent, random. And the funny thing, the irony with all of this, that, and we can talk about some of the other ones, but the irony, the grand irony with all of this is that overall retention, overall quality of hire has gone into the toilet. But none of these companies are saying anything about it. And now there's a sense of, oh my God, I'm getting such poor returns here that to get any kind of a return, it has to be worse and worse. And so this is the trend that we're seeing. There's not going to be a magical turnaround here. At least when it comes to job postings, there's not, right? Again, same information that we're seeing in different form in CNET, right? Some of the solutions that the team suggests, shifting from negative to affirmative filters in ATS, that would be fantastic, right? If companies could change what they're looking for it to be positive markers instead of negative, that would be huge, for sure. Re-examining the proxies for attributes, the proxies, that's the problem. They want certain things like skills, work ethic, self-efficacy. But the problem is they're putting artificial terminology. And now, meanwhile, job seekers are running through hoops trying to find out what that is. But that can change from company to company. So that's a huge problem. How are you going to win that, right? Today, most companies outsource the grunt work, but the grunt work has not made it better. The grunt work has not resulted in a better quality of hire. These systems ultimately do fill those vacancies, as Fast Company says, but in the process, it employs overly simplistic criteria that prune bad applicants, rejecting millions of otherwise qualified, right? So, and something really key here. You can find dozens of startups dedicated to helping job applicants beat the bots, meaning write a resume that will get past the screening software. I know I started my career writing resumes and cover letters, so I've came up to, do this. There's plenty of competitors I can say who make their entire living either through beating the bots, or some other hack. But it doesn't work. And in many situations, there's no possible way for you to beat the bots and still get the kind of interviews that are going to give you the kind of authority and leverage that you need. Because remember, getting to the interview is only one part of it. Then you've got to identify what's really going on. What's the pain? You've got to win out. So it's an unsolvable problem. And I hate to be the one to tell you that, but I just want to be very clear. The conclusions you can draw from this is that not only will this not change, this is going to get astronomically worse in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, you can change. This system, I have zero hope is going to change. Okay? But what you can do is you can change. Already what we're seeing is as this type of traditional hiring is going off of a cliff, there's way more pressure on the part of employers to find sourcing candidates from non-traditional hiring ways, avoiding the expense, avoiding the trouble, avoiding the randomness of all of this. Why not play to that, right? There's a way that you can think about this. There are like 3 sort of tiers, if you want to think about this, that will allow you to sort of think about this. And every tier will start with the most successful, and then we'll go out from there, okay? The best option is not to play the job posting game whatsoever. Make your number one only way of getting new opportunities, building new high-level relationships, adding value, standing on your own 2 feet, having your own mind share as an expert in your own right for what you do. Right? In other words, you're not tied to Cognizant or Amazon or Microsoft. You stand on your own and you're building your own platform 100%. You will never look at Monster, Indeed, those job postings ever again. It's as though that doesn't exist. So you go for the 80%, 90% of executive roles, by the way, that are out there in the hidden job market. You ignore job postings, the legacy market completely. That's the first play, the strongest for sure. It'll hurt the most at the beginning, but you're really ripping the Band-Aid off. The second one, and this is a very common one for people that I coach, is to play it in as limited a manner as possible. In other words, 70 to 85% of your time is spent actually tapping into the hidden job market, building those relationships, demonstrating value, identifying pain, and essentially creating offers around yourself that did not exist. But 15 to 20% of the time, when there are postings, when there is something that's very time sensitive, you leverage what you know, and in a limited capacity, again, looking to circumvent traditional hiring and ATS systems as much as possible, you will do it. That's the second one. The worst is to keep it at status quo. The worst is to hope that any of the roles that you see in job posting mode are either A, fresh, or either B, likely to be filled by you by coming in cold that way. That's the worst option. If you can pick one or two, ballsy is number one, a little bit less ballsy is number two, both will get you out.